My father died on a Monday. By Wednesday, my brother asked when we could talk about the will. I'm 35, and until 3 days ago, I thought I knew my family. I'm the older brother, the responsible one. I went to state school, got a decent job in accounting, married my college girlfriend Sarah, bought a modest house in the suburbs. My younger brother, Jake, is 32. He went to an expensive private university that Dad paid for, bounced between startups, currently between opportunities, drives a Tesla he can barely afford, and lives in a downtown loft that costs more than my mortgage. Dad was a self-made man. Started with nothing, built a successful construction company, sold it 5 years ago for enough money that he never had to work again. He wasn't flashy about it. Still drove a 10-year-old truck. Still wore the same work boots to go fishing. Still cut his own lawn. But everyone in the family knew he'd done well. Really well. The funeral was on Tuesday. Standard service. Lots of people from his old company. Neighbors, friends from the Rotary Club. Jake showed up 15 minutes late, wearing sunglasses inside, and left immediately after. He didn't come to the reception at Mom's house. Said he had something important to handle. Mom just nodded, too tired to argue. Wednesday evening, Jake called me. "We need to meet with Mom about Dad's will," he said. No preamble. "No. How are you holding up?" "Jake, Dad literally died 3 days ago. Can this wait?" The lawyer said we should meet as soon as possible. There are time-sensitive things. What time-sensitive things? I don't know. That's why we need to meet. Something in his voice fell off. Too urgent. Too focused. We met at Mom's house on Thursday. Mom looked exhausted, like she hadn't slept since Dad passed. The lawyer, Mr. Patterson, was already there, sitting at the dining room table with a leather folder in front of him. "Thank you both for coming," he said as we sat down. "I know this is a difficult time, but your father left very specific instructions about how and when this should be read." Jake leaned forward. "Okay, so what did he leave us?" Mr. Patterson opened the folder. "Your father's estate is valued at approximately $4.2 million. This includes the proceeds from the sale of his business, various investments, the family home, and other assets." I saw Jake's eyes light up. He was doing math in his head. "The distribution is as follows," Mr. Patterson continued. "To his wife, Margaret, he leaves a family home, free and clear, plus $500,000 in liquid assets for her security and comfort." Mom nodded silently. She'd expected that. To his son, Jake, he leaves $100,000 to be distributed immediately upon probate. Jake's expression froze. "Wait, what?" "And to his son, Michael," Mr. Patterson looked at me, "he leaves the remainder of the estate, approximately $3.6 million, with certain conditions attached." The room went completely silent. I couldn't process what I'd just heard. Jake looked like he'd been slapped. "There must be a mistake," Jake said. "Why would Dad leave me only $100,000? Mr. Patterson pulled out a letter. "Your father anticipated this question. He left this letter to be read aloud at this meeting." He cleared his throat and began reading in Dad's voice, or as close as anyone could get to it. "To my sons, if you're hearing this, I'm gone, and I'm sorry I can't be there to explain this in person. But I need you both to understand why I've divided things the way I have. Jake, I love you. I've always loved you, but I've also enabled you. Every time you needed money, I gave it to you. Every time you made a bad decision, I bailed you out. Your college education cost me $200,000. The car I co-signed for when you were 25 and defaulted on, I paid the remaining $30,000. The credit card that you racked up and couldn't pay, $15,000. The failed restaurant investment, $50,000. The security deposit on your loft when you got evicted from your last place, $8,000. Over the past 10 years, I have given you approximately $400,000, not including birthday money, Christmas gifts, and the countless smaller amounts you never paid back. Michael, you never asked me for anything. You paid your own way through college with scholarships and part-time jobs. You bought your own car. You saved for your own house. When you got married, you and Sarah paid for most of the wedding yourselves. Even though I offered to help, You built your life without my money, and I respected that. I respected it so much that I watched you struggle sometimes when I could have helped, because I knew you needed to do it yourself. This inheritance is not a punishment for Jake or a reward for Michael. It's a final lesson. Jake, the $100,000 I'm leaving you is exactly the amount I calculate you had if I had given you nothing over the past 10 years and you'd invested that money yourself. It's a reset. What you do with it is up to you. Michael, the money I'm leaving you comes with responsibility. Your brother is going to be angry. He's going to feel cheated. But I need you to understand something about the conditions attached to your inheritance. Michael, you are named as a trustee of the family trust. If, at any point in the next 5 years, Jake demonstrates genuine financial responsibility, maintaining stable employment for at least 18 consecutive months, living within his means, and staying out of debt, you are authorized to distribute to him an additional $500,000 from the trust. This is not a loan. This is not charity. This is his chance to prove that he's learned what I failed to teach him. The decision of whether he's met these conditions is entirely yours to make. I trust your judgment more than I trust my own at this point. If Jake does not meet these conditions within 5 years, the additional funds remain in the trust for your children's education. I hope he proves himself. I really do. But I'm done enabling behavior that hurts him more than it helps him. I love you both. Take care of your mother. Take care of each other. Dad. The silence after Mr. Patterson finished reading was deafening. I stared at the table, unable to look at anyone. Jake stood up so fast his chair fell over. This is bullshit. Jake, Mom started. No, this is absolute bullshit. He's basically saying Michael is the perfect son, and I'm a screw-up. That's not what he's saying. I found my voice. Really? Because that's exactly what it sounds like. You get millions, I get pocket change, and then I have to perform like a trained monkey for 5 years if I want more. You got $400,000 over the past decade. I said quietly. He's not punishing you. He's just not giving you more. Of course you defend this. You're the golden child who gets everything. I never asked for any of this. No, you just got it anyway by being boring and responsible and never taking any risks. Mom slammed her hand on the table. Enough, both of you. Your father is dead. I will not listen to you two fight over his money in my house 3 days after I buried him. Jake grabbed his jacket. I need to get out of here. He stormed out. We heard his Tesla screech out of the driveway. Mr. Patterson looked uncomfortable. I apologize. These situations are always difficult. It's not your fault, Mom said tiredly. He needed to hear it. After Mr. Patterson left, I stayed with Mom. We sat in silence for a while. Did you know about this? I asked. Yes. Your father discussed it with me before he updated the will last year. I agreed with him. Why didn't he tell us before? Because he hoped he wouldn't have to. He hoped Jake would figure things out on his own. She looked at me. How do you feel about all this? Honestly, I felt sick. Not because of the money. I'd never expected any inheritance at all. But because of what it meant. It meant Dad had been watching Jake self-destruct for years. It meant he'd given up on traditional fatherly help and tried one last desperate measure. It meant our family was now divided in a way that might never heal. I don't know, I said. I don't know if I want this responsibility. Your father trusted you to make the right decisions. That's not nothing. Update 1. Jake didn't talk to me for 2 weeks. He ignored my calls, left my texts on read, blocked me on social media. Mom said he'd been by once to see her, but he left quickly and wouldn't discuss the will. Then one night, he showed up at my house at 11 p.m. Sarah answered the door and immediately came to get me. He looked awful, unshaven, wearing the same clothes I'd seen him in days before, dark circles under his eyes. "Can we talk?" he asked. We sat on the porch. Sarah discreetly went upstairs. "I've been doing a lot of thinking," Jake said, "and I need to know something. Did you ask Dad to do this? Did you tell him not to leave me money?" "No, I had no idea." "Did you ever complain to him about me? About how much he gave me?" "Jake, I never talked to Dad about money. Mine or yours." He was quiet for a long time. Everyone thinks I'm a screw-up. That's not true. It is true. Dad thought it. You think it. Mom thinks it. I know how I look. The unsuccessful younger brother who can't get his life together. I didn't know what to say because part of it was true, and we both knew it. The thing is, Jake continued, Dad was right about the money. I did waste it. Every dollar he gave me, I blew on stupid things. The restaurant investment, I didn't even do due diligence. The guy was my buddy from college, and I thought it would be cool to own a restaurant. I lost Dad's $50,000 in 6 months. We all make mistakes. Not like mine, and not over and over again. He looked at me. I'm angry about the will. I'm furious, actually, but I'm more angry at myself than at Dad or you, because he gave me chance after chance, and I blew every single one. So what are you going to do? I don't know. The $100,000 is already gone. My heart sank. Gone? Jake, it's only been 2 weeks. Not gone spent. Gone invested. I put all into crypto. Jesus Christ, Jake. Wait, let me finish. I know how that sounds. But this time is different. This time I actually did research. I talked to financial advisors. I didn't just throw it at something because it sounded cool. And if I'm being honest, I did it because I wanted to prove something. I wanted to turn that $100,000 into enough money that I wouldn't need the extra $500,000, that I wouldn't need to come crawling back. That's incredibly risky. I know, but here's the thing. If I lose it, I lose it. And that's on me, not Dad, not you, me. And maybe that's what I need, to actually face consequences for once without anyone bailing me out. We sat there in the dark, listening to crickets. For what it's worth, I said, I hope it works out. I really do. Yeah, well, we'll see. Either way, I owe you an apology for what I said at Mom's house. You didn't ask for this mess. Neither did you. No, but Dad gave it to both of us anyway. He stood up. I should go. Thanks for talking. As he walked to his car, he turned back. Hey, Michael, whether I meet Dad's conditions or not, I'm going to try. Not for the money, but because he was right. I need to figure my shit out. Update 2. 6 months passed. Jake and I texted occasionally. Surface level stuff. Mom reported that he'd gotten a job at a tech company. Entry level, not glamorous, but steady. He'd moved to a cheaper apartment. He'd sold a Tesla and bought a used Honda. Then one Sunday he called, Can you meet me for coffee? We met at a place halfway between our houses. He looked different, healthier, more grounded. I need to tell you something, he said once we sat down. The crypto investment? It went up, way up. That $100,000 is now worth $380,000. My jaw dropped. Jake, that's incredible. Yeah, and I sold it all, cashed out completely. Why? Because I realized something. Dad didn't leave me that money to gamble with. He left it as a test. And the test wasn't whether I could turn it into more money. The test was whether I'd learned anything. Whether I'd finally understand the difference between being lucky and being responsible. He pulled out his phone and showed me screenshots. I paid off all my credit cards. $15,000. I paid back Mom for money I borrowed last year that I never mentioned to anyone. $5,000. I put $100,000 in a retirement account that I can't touch. $150,000 in a high-yield savings account. And I'm keeping $110,000 in investments, but boring ones. Index funds, bonds, the stuff Dad would have approved of. I didn't know what to say. I'm not telling you this because I want you to give me the $500,000 from the trust, Jake continued. I'm telling you because I want you to know that I get it now. I finally understand what Dad was trying to teach me. How's the job going? It's fine. It's boring, honestly. I'm doing data analysis for a company that makes medical devices. Nothing exciting, but it's stable. They have good benefits. I've been there 6 months, and I plan to stay at least another year, maybe longer. We talked for over an hour. He told me about therapy he'd started, about the financial advisor he was working with, about the budget he'd created and was actually sticking to. I'm not saying I'm perfect now, he said. I still make mistakes. But I'm trying. Actually trying, not just saying I am. Dad would be proud, I said. Jake's eyes got watery. Yeah, I think he would. Update 3. 18 months after Dad died, Jake hit his mark. 18 consecutive months of stable employment. No debt, living within his means. He didn't ask me about the trust money. Didn't bring it up once. I called Mr. Patterson. I think he's met the conditions. You're sure? You understand this is your decision to make. Your father left it entirely to your judgment. I'm sure. We arranged a meeting at Mr. Patterson's office. Jake, Mom, Sarah, and me. When Jake walked in and saw everyone, he looked confused. What's going on? Mr. Patterson smiled. Your brother has determined that you've met the conditions set forth in your father's will. The trust is releasing $500,000 to you. Jake looked at me, stunned. But I didn't ask. You didn't have to ask. That was the whole point. He sat down heavily. I can't take that money. Now everyone looked confused. What do you mean you can't take it? Mom asked. Because I don't need it. Not like I thought I would. I have savings. I have a job. I have a life that works without it. He looked at me. Give it to your kids. For college. That's what Dad's letter said would happen if I didn't meet the conditions, right? Jake, you earned this. I said, no, I earned the right to be offered it. That's different than needing to take it. He smiled, and it was genuine. Dad's lesson wasn't about the money. It was about proving to myself that I could be responsible. I did that. The money was just a measuring stick. Mr. Patterson looked between us. This is highly unusual. My brother is highly unusual, I said, and I meant it as a compliment. Jake shook his head. Here's what I want to do. Take that $500,000 and split it. Put $250,000 in trust for Michael's kids. And put $250,000 in a charitable fund, in Dad's name, for helping people learn financial literacy. Programs for people who grew up without money education, who make the same mistakes I did. Mom started crying. Are you sure about this? I asked. I'm sure. Dad gave me way more than $500,000 over the years. He gave me chance after chance after chance. This is me finally learning the lesson. The best thing I can do with that money is help other people not be like I was. Final update. It's been 3 years since Dad died. The charitable fund Jake created has helped over 200 people through financial literacy programs. Jake still works at the same company, got promoted twice, and is now managing a team. He met someone, a teacher named Rebecca, and they just got engaged. He asked me to be his best man. Mom is doing well. She volunteers at the local library and has a book club that meets at her house every month. She mentions Dad often, always with a smile. Sarah and I just had our first baby, a girl. We named her Margaret after Mom. The other day, Jake came over to meet his niece. He held her carefully, like she was made of glass, and said, Your grandpa would have loved you. He would have loved seeing who you become, too. I said. Jake smiled. Yeah, I think he's seeing it anyway. We sat there together, brothers who'd almost lost each other over money we never earned, watching a new generation begin. Dad's final lesson had worked, but not the way any of us expected. He hadn't bought Jake's responsibility. He'd forced him to find his own reasons for it. The trust fund for my daughter sits there, waiting. Maybe she'll need it someday. Maybe she won't. Either way, she'll grow up knowing the difference between having money and understanding its value. And that, I think, is what Dad wanted all along. Some inheritances are measured in dollars. The important ones are measured in wisdom. Dad left us both. It just took Jake and me a while to figure out which one mattered more.